Hello everyone. Today I'm taking a look at this mini PC from Orico. Now this mini NAS here supports two 3.5-inch SATA drive bays, two M.2 slots, dual 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, and an Intel N5105 mini CPU. It's also the only NAS I've ever had to use a spudger to disassemble. So if that sounds interesting to you, then come along on this adventure. Also, disclosures. Orico sent me this unit for review. No money changed hands. They will not see the review until you do. I suggest you watch all the way to the end to see what I really think of it. So, here's the box. Let's open it. So I guess this thing is a bit bigger than I thought it would be. Starting with accessories, I guess. We have an accessory box. So we've got some Ethernet cables. We have a power brick. 12 volt, 5 amp, 60 watt. Barrel jack, by the way. Some drive mounting screws. Power cord. Okay, so here on the bench, we have scan code to bind device. I guess we'll figure that one out later. The front panel is plastic. The top of the device is metal. It's very cold right now. This guy is plastic. That's magnetically attached. So in here we appear to have our two drive sleds. Let me see what those look like. So you pop that and pull this out. It's got a very good feel. They're not toolless though. So we got screws on the side for drive tools. Screws on the bottom for an SSD. These guys are plastic. I think they're plastic all around. Let's see. So we pop this in. This should go in there. And then this lever is just to pull it out. It's not actually like wedging it in anymore. We've got a power button on the front. This guy snaps back over with magnets. On the side it says MetaHome Pro. I don't know if I would have wanted to associate myself with the other Meta, but you do you. And back of the unit here, you got Type C, USB 3, two LANs, DC 12 volt, and HDMI, and a reset button. This guy is also plastic, by the way. So again, the top case is metal. These two fans here are possibly for cooling drives. I guess we'll see how we cool the CPU. Flipping it over to the bottom two, we also have this sticker made by Shenzhen Orico Technologies, input, and a little door here. So here you've got space for two M.2 2280s. Here you've got space for two memory channels, which is nice because a lot of these new ones only have one memory channel. Let me pull the RAM out and see what it is. So there is no sticker on the RAM, but this is what the memory chips say. Feel free to look those up on your own if you like. So I will do a full teardown of this later in the video, but first I'm going to get through all of my performance testing, software testing, things like that. So getting ready for my first boot, I got my Open Interface Mini KVM. This does keyboard and mouse over USB and HDMI capture. So that's hooked up. I've got 2.5 gig from the switch. These are both 2.5 gig NICs. And I have Ubuntu on a flash drive, and we're going to try to get into the BIOS. Okay, change of plans. I can't get into the BIOS, boot Ubuntu. It keeps booting the default operating system. I have tried every key in the function row, delete, escape, all those. With Control, Windows, and Alt modifiers, none of it's working. So we're going to do a teardown and see if we can pull out the internal SSD to force it to go into the BIOS. Okay, my bad slowly. The USB 3 ports do not go into the BIOS. I plugged into the Type C port instead with the Type C to USB A adapter. Then, some key on the function row, I just swiped my hand across the whole thing. That got me into a menu that shows only boot options. So here we have Debian, eMMC, USB flash, and enter setup. So let's enter setup. Okay, so what do we got here? Manufacturer name, default string, serial number, default string. Intel Celeron N5105, 4-core, 4-thread, and eMMC 32 gig. So I guess if I would have torn it down, I probably wouldn't have been able to remove the eMMC anyway. I do like that the eMMC is there for a NAS operating system like this. 32 gigs is enough for an operating system. TrueNAS would probably complain about it. Unraid seems to be oddly specific about only allowing USB drives, but having eMMC for your OS in general makes sense unless your specific operating system is just being a pain. We have many settings to choose from. And we're going to boot to... Why do we have Windows Recover? That's weird. Because we have Debian. We're we're going to boot to flash drive. Okay, so I'm in here in the menu. Let's look at LS CPU. So we are a N5105 as we expected. 4 threads, 4 cores. That looks about like 8 gigs of RAM to me. So very normal amount. Nothing on USB, this is all my stuff. Let's see, we are at Jaspered Lake. We have this guy, J-Micron JMB58X SATA controller, and 2 Intel i226Vs. As far as block devices go, we got all these loop devices that are used by Snap, which is kind of stupid. We've got SDA, which is my flash drive, and MMC Block 0, so I didn't add any other drives yet. That reminds me, I should probably add some drives into those M.2 so I can see how fast they are. So I'm putting in a pair of these Samsung 980 Pros, good for PCIe Gen 4. This thing does not support Gen 4, but guess we'll see what it does support. It also came with a little screwdriver, by the way. I missed it in the box earlier. Okay, that's better. So we've got a 1 and O2. Okay, non-volatile memory controller. We are running at PCI Gen 3 8 gigatransfers by 1 lane. Wow. And the other one, O2, is similarly running at Gen 3 by 1 lonely lane. So our NVMe drives are in fact not blazing fast at all. They're only 8 gigabits per second, so 8 gigatransfers times 1 lane. Now the CPU in this guy, the N5105, has 8 lanes of Gen 3 to go around. So each i226 NIC needs 1 lane of Gen 2, or like half a lane of Gen 3 worth of bandwidth. So let's say they gave them each a whole lane, because they did. So that takes up 2 of our lanes. We've got 2 of our lanes going to the 2 NVMe drives there. That must mean we're spending 4 lanes on the SATA controller. Does that make sense? Okay, here we go. J-Micron JMB58X SATA controller. Link cap, 8 gigatransfers by 1 lane. And link status, 8 gigatransfers by 1 lane. So it looks like, as far as I can tell, we're only using 5 lanes of the 8 lanes in the CPU. So we could have given each of these guys 2 lanes. You can't really do 3 lanes, that's not really allowed. 4 lanes would have meant we have none left over for the SATA controller and the network cards. If they used a PCIe Gen 3 switch, which is not that common to be honest, and kind of expensive, they could have done 4 and 2, but I think doing 2 and 2 would have been a lot more reasonable than just putting these lanes to waste. Like, people want high bandwidth, and a 8 giga transfer by 1 NVMe is not high bandwidth. That's like barely faster than SATA. Well, I guess it's time to put some drives in. So I'll pop off the magnetic cover. I got 2 6 terabyte WD Reds. I've had these for a long time, so we're going to use them for this test. And we got the plastic tray that is not toolless. I'm just going to put 1 screw in for testing. Let's see, so that feels a little bit tight, but it's going in there pretty well. Get in there. Okay, so I'm going to boot it up and see what their software is like. So this is what I get out of HDMI. I can move the mouse around, but no right click, no left click. Let's try a little trick here. Control Alt F2. Oh, neat. We have switched TTYs. I don't know what the username is though. I don't know what the password is either. Looks like they're somehow trying to not show anything over HDMI except their logo, but they forgot about TTY switching, so I switched into another TTY. I still don't have an account though, so I guess we'll have to try the web UI. So I'm going to port scan and nmap, and we're doing, this is the address I found on my router. It got over DHCP. This looks like SSH is open, 111's open, and is that it? That doesn't seem like enough. And that's all we got. There is no web UI, I guess. 111 is Sun RPC, so this is used for NFS. 22, as you guys know, is Secure Shell. 2049 is also NFS here. So, without a web UI, I'm not going any further with their software. You saw port 80 and 443 aren't open as we would expect. Also, port 445 for Samba is not open as well. Surprisingly, though, the NFS ports are. I don't have a username and password to use with SSH, but according to this thing, the little manual that it came with, I'm supposed to download and run the CyberData client or the CyberData app from Google Play or the App Store, which is not something I have any interest in doing. So I guess we're not going to try out CyberData today. We're going to go straight into the teardown. So I'm going to start with a little door here. Got this guy out. So here I have my RAM and my M.2s. I'll pull my own M.2s back out. Oh, I need a smaller Phillips. So here through this door, I got some screws here. These look like they're for a heatsink, so I'm not going to take them off yet. I'm instead going to go for these guys here, because I'm going to bet they've stuck a screw up. Yep, there we go. Get a screw under here. Nope, not back. Okay, so I got 2 screws out under these, nothing under those. Maybe I should take the drives out. What's it stuck on? Okay, it just doesn't do well with gravity, I guess. It's coming out fine now. If you can see back there, there's a screw in the back that could hold something in. I guess I could try that one. Oh, I see. So we got fake covers here I gotta get off. Okay. Why do this on the back? This is the back side of the unit. Why put these stupid little things here? Like they've even molded it into the shape of the fake grill. Spudger. I got one clip here. Is there a clip on the other side that I'm not finding, or is it somehow otherwise stuck? This is really quite stuck. I'm separated from the case. I can see the snap here. So far, this is on track to be the most difficult teardown I've done. And this feels like plastic. Why is it so hard? Okay, there we go. That was the last thing holding us up. So this is very well adhered. We got 6 screws here, plus 2 through to the drive cage. Okay, so how do we get this assembly out now? Does it just pull out? Oh god, there's screws way in there. Why do they do this? Actually, what I can do is I can pop the fans off. Come on out of there. So now that I pop the fans off, I think there's some clips I can see if I spudger out the piece from this side. Got screws all over here. Probably never going back together. Well, that worked better. Okay, so I have the innards now. We have 2 drive sleds. So it looks like we've got some sort of motherboard here, the RAM, NVMe, This is connected by PCI Express, so maybe that's why they have a by 4 link here. I guess I could try to plug another card into it. That could be fun. Let's see if we can get this thing out. Okay, so I'm stuck on the front by a ribbon cable to the power button. I'm stuck on the back by, I'm not stuck by anything. Okay, it came right out. So this sure does look like a PCI Express by 4. And that sure does there. They could, of course, be abusing this connector. I don't know. I think I should plug something into it and see. Okay, I found a SAS card that's PCI, I don't know what generation, but it's by 4 lanes. So it'll fit in this slot. And it'll fit. I also noticed that there's an internal USB that's covered up, which probably would have been nice to have accessible, but I guess we'll continue with this process. There, that's sitting there. There's my SAS card. That might be good. This is the only one that worked for keyboard for me. These two did not work for keyboard. So I got the full setup here. I guess we're going to go and see what happens. I hate how hard it is to get in the BIOS. You've got like fractions of a second to hit the right key. I don't even know what the right key is yet. Well, I can't get this stupid thing to go into the BIOS. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm bashing all the keys that I can. It seems really random if the BIOS menu pops up or not. The only menu I can get to pop up is the boot selection menu, where it asks you what you want to boot from. And then from there you can choose to enter setup. So I'm trying all the key combinations I can figure out, and it just takes so many random tries that I don't know what's going on. So I guess that's it for the teardown. Okay, so what do I think about this guy? I don't know how much it costs. I'm not going to be bothered to look it up. I don't like it. When I took this review, I thought this was going to be something like one of the N100 mini PCs that are all over the market, but with some sort of built-in SATA, and that seemed like a perfectly reasonable thing to do. So I knew it had the N5105, which is an older gen, but not that much older. It's still in plenty of mini PCs. Didn't seem like it would be that bad of a trade-off. But they've just made like every wrong decision as they go through. It's like, first of all, the use of proprietary software. So when I buy a NAS, I expect to be able to connect it over Samba and configure it from a web UI. Web UI is a pretty universal thing. You can make a mobile-friendly web UI. In fact, plenty of mobile apps and even an alarming number of desktop apps are just a web UI. So having a web UI is sort of the most basic way to configure an appliance like this. And they don't have one. And so that disturbs me a bit. I'm not going to download any proprietary software. I mean, if they have some sort of backup function or something, that might be nice, but every modern operating system, actually I'm not sure about Windows, most good operating systems have some sort of built-in backup methods that you should be able to just use. You shouldn't need their proprietary software to do anything like this. So next up on the hardware, I mean, I knew when I took the review I had the spec sheet, and it had two 2.5 gig NICs, which perfectly fine. That's absolutely adequate for 2 spinning Rust and 2 NVMe. I would not complain about having two 2.5 gig NICs on a NAS of this performance. What I will complain about is having one PCIe Gen 3 lane to each SSD. Now this CPU has 8 lanes. We're connecting 5 things to it. The 2 SSDs, the 2 NICs, and SATA controller. So the SATA controller at best is going to do 6 gigabits per second per drive. So that would be 12 gigabits across 2 drives at best. It's only connected at PCIe Gen 3, so it's only supporting 8 gigabits per second total. Now again, this is spinning Rust, so that's fine. Spinning Rust drives do not come anywhere close to the max bandwidth of SATA. But NVMe drives totally could use more bandwidth, and they've given them each 1 lane as well. They're just wasting 3 lanes and not doing anything with them. So those should definitely be allocated to something more useful like 2 lanes per SSD at a minimum. Now, all of that could be overlooked if it's at a low price and easy to disassemble and hack. I mean, we all love putting our own operating systems on things, I would be fine with paying a small amount of money for this hardware and doing what I want with it. But that's really hard as well. So I had a hard time getting the BIOS. I'm not sure what key combination it is. If I mash enough keys, and I've tried like mashing zones of keys, etc. to figure it out, you only get like 2 seconds to hit your key properly, maybe even 1 second. And at best you get the little boot menu, and if you hit a key again, it goes away and continues booting, which is very frustrating. So it's such a pain to work with. I guess if I wiped the internal MMC, then it wouldn't boot into its OS and it'd be fine. Then it probably would be okay, but it's just so hard to get there. It does have a PCIe slot on board that has at least one lane available, it seems like. The card I put in there came up, and I mean, I couldn't talk to analytics because I couldn't boot into the OS, but the card seemed to get power and be happy. So that's something, right? Now, as for build quality, this thing is made of metal. This appears to be an extrusion, and that's a perfectly reasonable choice. I mean, it's an extrusion. That's a nice way of building things. Despite the extrusion being nice, the front and back panels are not quite so nice. They're plastic. They're held in with a wild number of screws and snaps that made it very hard to disassemble. And the drive trays aren't toolless. So many other competitors have toolless drive trays. I've reviewed plenty of them on this channel before for 3.5-inch drives. I understand for the 2.5-inch drives you have to screw them up from the bottom, so it's not as easy to make them toolless. But if you're building a 3.5-inch bay NAS, you should be toolless at this point. There's no excuse. So overall, I think this very much misses the mark on what people expect. If you're trying to enter the home lab space, people expect to be able to tinker with it. That's why N100 mini PCs with no operating system are so popular. People put whatever they want on them. You can run TrueNAS, Unraid, Proxmox VE, Proxmox backup server, all that kind of good stuff without hassle. This gave me a lot of hassle, so I would not be trying to run my own stuff on it. On the flip side, some people in the home and small business space, they just want something easy that works, and they're going to want to connect to this on their web browser over Samba and not deal with a proprietary app. So despite all of these words, I may have links in the description below. They may be affiliate links that may help me. I don't know if I'll even put links yet. We'll see. If you want to chat with me more, though, I have a Discord server, link down below for that. I have, what else? I have a Ko-fi. You can give me tips there. I greatly appreciate that. It's kind of like Patreon, but it's only a one-time thing, not recurring. I also have a blog. There's no blog post here, but yeah, so I'll see you guys on the next adventure.